It's the Sean Widmer Podcast. It's a journal by someone that just really doesn't like to write.
Hello there, Sean Widmer Podcast. Oh, it's going up on a Monday. Being recorded early on a Monday. I waited to hit record until you can hear it. Listen to this. You hear my alarm going off. Very cool. That was great. Great for audio interruptions. I waited until 6 o'clock to hit record. So it's a throwback to the Jay and Kevin show when we would start talking every day at this time. A life I can't remember because it feels so stinking early right now. Feels so early. Very cold here also in Lexington. The early and cold combo, one of my least favorite things. Today on the podcast, I'm talking about my favorite question to ask people. It's my favorite. It bombed this weekend, but I want to bring it up on the podcast because I love it so very much. Also, I want to give a shout out to some people in this world. I'll give 3 of them today. But there's a thing I believe in that I hope is happening, and we'll talk about that briefly today on the podcast. It's your favorite 15-minute podcast, and the next podcast in waiting for Netflix to pick us up. Where you at, Netflix? I'm waiting patiently. Netflix is getting into the podcasting game, and I know they're getting some of the Bill Simmons stuff. I think I saw an article. Where was it? There was an article somewhere, and it had some of the podcasts Netflix is getting into. They're going to have the Bill Simmons podcast, which is a regular listen for me. He's going to be on Netflix. I think that's super cool. I love that. And I'm trying to remember. I think there was some of the Barstool podcasts are going up there. I'm trying to look here. This is bad. This is bad podcasting. Don't worry, Netflix. I know you're tuned in. This is not what normally happens at the beginning of the podcast. It normally happens, near the middle or something like that. I got to see where it's going to be at. I'm excited about it. I love podcasts. So the fact that Netflix is diving on board, I think is pretty cool. And we just sit here patiently and await our invite. I had something happen this weekend I saw that made me chuckle. It's just kind of weird how everyone gets on the same page at the same time. I've been on a pretty decent music kick. I would say a lot of that is thanks to my buddy Andy. He's been firing off some good bands to listen to. He found the format. I'm a huge fan of the band Fun. I did not realize that before the band Fun, the lead singer of Fun was in a band called The Format back in the early 2000s. And I did not know this, but Andy was like, did you know The Format has new music? I was like, I don't know. I didn't know The Format had old music. And so I went and listened to some of their new stuff, and there's a song on there I'm completely obsessed with. I'm all in. So color me a Format guy. So I was listening to that. And then the other song I've been jamming out to a whole ton because I just finished Stranger Things. I was like, okay, Joe Keery seems super cool. Steve from Stranger Things. I know he's got a band. So I Googled last week, what's the name of Steve's band? Steve from Stranger Things. What's his band's name? D-Joe. I was like, oh yeah, D-Joe. Let me go check it out. So I go to Spotify and I just go to the most played because I know that's going to give me a good feel, a taste for his music, as opposed to just maybe diving into an album and trying to sift through the good ones and bad ones. So I play it, and End of the Beginning is the first song up there, a song that I really, really like, but I hadn't heard in a little while, and I was like, this song rules. So I listened to it all weekend. I never stopped listening to it. I was just between this Format song and End of the Beginning. If you know me, you know that I will listen to the exact same song forever until that one song burns out. So I don't listen to a whole album. I don't skip around. I just find one song that I like. I put it on repeat and I'll listen to it for a full day. That's all the time. Okay. So this weekend it was End of the Beginning and I listened to it for 48 straight hours and I'm loving it. I'm like, man, this song is really good. I really like the sound of it. I like the vibe of it. I did listen to a couple, I guess I lied a little because I listened to a couple other songs of his, mainly if they were the next one after End of the Beginning on the most played list for D-Joe. And so I was like, he's really good. I really like this. So I'm wake up today. I'm kind of doing my let's look at headlines to kick off the morning. It's my version of the newspaper. I do 2 things when I wake up. I tell myself why am I awake? Why am I awake? I guess 3 things. I go, why am I awake? Then I look at headlines for major things just to see if anything happened overnight. And then I have a RSS feed of gaming headlines that I like, blog articles that I'll look to see if there's anything new and read on that. And that's like that's my newspaper. And then I do Wordle. So I guess I do 4 things. I do a lot. I'm a very busy man. It's going to be, Netflix is going to be lucky to get a hold of me to get me on Netflix because of how busy I am. So we'll see. But I do those things. Excuse me. I do those things. Then I choke on my saliva on the podcast recording. And it's all, it's just all part of the circle of life is what that is. Anyhow, I don't even remember where I was going with any of this, but I was looking at headlines and one of them said, Joe Keery and D-Joe upend Taylor Swift, Fate of Ophelia, for the top song on Spotify, most listened to on Spotify. And I thought, of course it is. We all did the same thing. We all watched Stranger Things Season 5. We all Google searched Steve. We all remembered he has a band. We all went and listened to his song. We all realized we loved it. It got popular on TikTok again because people did that. And then we all listened to End of the Beginning and we're all doing it. And no one really cares that anyone else is doing it. And then it's number 1 on Spotify and none of us are original. And that's what happened. And it was great, and I'm happy about it. But I just thought it was funny. I was like, man, I'm loving this song. I feel like I'm kind of in my own bubble. Look at the headlines. Everyone's doing this, Sean. Everyone is listening to this song from 2022 because of Stranger Things. And now I just hope that, the nerd in me, I'm hoping that Stranger Things affects everyone. There is, actually, I have it right here. This is very nerdy. A very nerdy moment for those of you who watch on YouTube and Spotify. I'm holding up the Dungeons & Dragons Welcome to the Hellfire Club D&D starter set. That's really, really good and a really good entry point to the hobby. I'm hoping that much like listening to D-Joe, I'm hoping people are going and buying that too. And being like, what was that game they played at the end of Stranger Things? Spoiler. Late spoiler. What was that game they played? I want to try it. And then hopefully everyone's doing that. So they're listening to D-Joe while playing D&D, and we're just all one big happy family. Okay, well, have we even got to the stuff I want to talk about? No, we haven't, but we need to. There's this thing inside of me, this feeling that I have all the time on my day-to-day life, all the time, probably way too often. And it's probably in hopes of that I figure out how to time travel, go back in time, and create something. I love creators. I love making things. And I always think in my head when I'm using an everyday object or when something pops up that I think is kind of cool, I think in my head, man, I hope the person that made this is set for life. I hope they made this item and then they never had to work again ever. And we've taken care of them. Because there are some people out there who have a ton of money who I'm like, you didn't really do a whole lot for us to be in the position you're in. I mean, congratulations. And you did a lot. Or your dad or grandpa did a lot. But I want to make sure like people who made, I'm going to give you 3 examples today. People who made something, I hope they never had to work another day in their life. The air fryer is a pretty basic one to start with. And I'm hoping that one's big enough that it happened. But to the guy or gal who made the air fryer, can I find a name? The first real air fryer. Now, I'm going to look up air fryer on Wikipedia, and it's going to give me like this history of the air fryer, and someone's going to come up with an 1880s thing. I don't want that. I want the first person who made a air fryer sold in stores. I don't have it in here. Types of air fryers, invention, maybe William Maxon. Doesn't seem right. Here we go. Fred van der Weege. Fred van der Weege, an inventor from the Netherlands, started developing the modern air fryer in 2005, building on William Maxon, who made something in 1945, building on his inventions. Took 3 years to develop a prototype, and it was produced by Philips. It was introduced at the 2010 IFA Berlin, the International Funkenstaulen. That's wrong. A major consumer electronics fair in Berlin in 2008. Weege requested a patent on his invention, which was granted in 2012. I hope Fred van der Weege never works another day in his life because the air fryer rules. We use it almost every day. It for sure doesn't sit for more than 2 days. I used it last night to healthily make mozzarella sticks to kick off the 4th quarter of Patriots Chargers at about 10:30 at night. And, just a healthy choice. But I love our air fryer, and I hope that Fred never has to work another day in his life. Whoever made the first paper towel roll, okay? and these are modern. Again, not historical. Whoever made the first modern paper towel roll was like, look, toilet paper's great. And I don't know, I'm sure toilet paper better have come first. Toilet paper's great. Can I extend toilet paper into a longer roll, a little thicker, and for your hands? And then cleaning stuff up on countertops and everything like that you use it for. Whoever thought of that, I hope that once they sold the first paper towel roll, they never did anything else forever. They lived out their fantasies. Because that invention absolutely rules. And the final one I'll give you an example of. I hope whoever came up with Kids Bop is living large. I hope they are living large in LA, on the beach, just killing it. Because Kids Bop freaking rules. Whether you're sick of it or you think it's goofy, the fact that I can find pretty much any big pop song, I could probably go find End of the Beginning on Kids Bop. But the fact that you can find any major pop song and there's a version of it with kids singing, as someone who has children, it is one of the greatest treats because I'm not listening to Miss Rachel or Blippi or Elmo. I am listening to kids. Yes, that part is like, okay, well, it's not the real singer. I get it. But it's a song that you can actually get down with. And, they've edited it for content a little bit. We had a big run with Pink Pony Club in the house. Was it last summer? Big run. And it was great to have the Kids Bop version, right? So we could, a little modified, edited version. So I'm not sitting here listening to, again, Blippi's Monster Truck song or Garbage Truck by Danny Go or whatever the Danny Goes. Give me that Garbage by Danny Go. I'm not saying those songs suck. They don't. I love myself a good song by a guy who's making music videos for kids. They're good. They're great. Danny Go's fine. But it's not as good as Kids Bop. And so whoever made Kids Bop, I hope once they made it and they got that thing rolling, they have been on a beach. They've been making trips to exotic locations. They own a bunch of mansions. I hope that my next thing I'm going to talk about, they've realized in actuality. So there you go.
Kelly's, what are you into?
My soundboard for my setup, this thing you can see if you're watching the video, it is failing me. Is it because it's by this unfinished wall? Is it because it's right next to that unfinished wall? I don't know. It's failing me. I think it must have got dusty. Oh, man. My headphones like half work right now, half don't. It's wonderful. Very thankful. Don't want to replace that thing. So anyhow, what am I into? Well, I said at the beginning of the podcast, I want to talk about my very favorite question to ask people. And it's very fun because you learn a lot about people with this question. I would say about 30% of the people I've asked it to in my life, which is a ton, don't answer it. Or they have a goofy answer, whatever. I'm probably not good friends with those people. I'm not saying I'm enemies with them. I'm not saying I'm even not friends with them. I just know that the people who answer this question, I am close friends with. It is funny. Across the board, if I ask this and you answered it, I know we're going to get along. And I failed this week. I asked someone this weekend, and they didn't have an answer. They just kind of hemmed and hawed, thought the question was silly. And I still like this person, but I was like, oh, well, we'll never be close friends. The question that I love asking is, and the reason it came back up, I was talking with Andy yesterday. So what have you been up to? He texted me way early. I said, what are you doing up so early? He said, I woke up, couldn't go to sleep, and now I've got onto some weird YouTube algorithm thing that's showing me what people bought with their lottery winnings. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love that stuff. And then my question came up. I didn't need to ask Andy. I think I've already asked him a million times, but it came up in my head like, oh, that correlates a little bit to what my favorite question is, which is, if I told you today you could start any business in the world and it was going to be successful, what would you start? Oh, I love that question. I think it's so fun. I think it says a lot about somebody as a person. And I'll even preface, if I can see someone's hit right between the eyes and they're not going to be able to recover, I can kind of make it into a, what are like you into right now that you think it would be cool to have a business about? Because this can be something that changes a lot in someone's head. And it's kind of whatever you're like, would I start a business right now that just listens to End of the Beginning on repeat for the rest of eternity, right? What a great business that would be. But if I had a ton of money, if I won the lottery, I know for sure I would invest in my friends. And if I want a ton of money, one of the things I would want to do, of course, is take care of the people who have been around me and are around me. And one of those things I think would be great is to give John and Andy a bunch of money without any repercussions of, they don't have to pay me back. They don't have to worry about it. They don't have to worry if the business fails or succeeds. But I would help them launch their golf shop / simulator / indoor driving range. Right? We'd get the ball rolling on the shop they want to do. Darnay, I'd get you money to start a coffee shop that sells donuts and is probably the coolest, trendiest coffee shop in America with the greatest Edison lights and the greatest vibe. I actually don't know if that's Tripp's answer, but I've got to assume that if I offered him that, it'd be up there. I actually would love to know what his is right now. For some reason, I just think Darnay would have the coffee / donut shop. It'd be the cutest thing in the world. He and his wife, Laura, would run it, and it would just be amazing. And whatever neighborhood it was in would be the luckiest neighborhood in the world. Brandon, my guy Brandon, probably because he's a good human, would start a nonprofit that would revolutionize kids' lives in whatever city he opens it in. And I would say, why didn't you start a business where you are creating things on the internet? And he'd say, because I'm a better human than you, Sean. And I would help revolutionize kids' lives in whatever neighborhood I'm in, whatever city I'm in. And I would love, you think of those things. Jeremy and I would open a game shop. Jeremy and I would open some kind of board game gaming shop and maybe brewery connected. So that would be, that would be ours. It's a fun question though. I'd recommend asking it to people. It also is a great exercise in showing you how different your friends can be from you and still be your friends. This is another thing that I was thinking about as I was, again, talking to somebody at work. They were talking about how difficult it is. And they were younger, and they were talking about how difficult it can be to make friends. And one of the things they said, they have a hobby, a very specific hobby. They're like, I just can't find a lot of people who are into this. And I was like, that's fair, actually. That's fair. But I will let you know, some of my very best, closest friends are not into my favorite hobby. A lot of them aren't into my favorite hobby. Now, we do have hobbies that cross at some point, and it's where we became friends, right? Andy and I became friends over college football, the video game college football. We became friends through that. So did Jeremy and I. Darnay and I, who I just mentioned, we became friends through basketball. John and I had a better one. We had not a better one, but we had a different route, kind of a more, I would say, the route that a lot of people have made friends in. We had family friends, and our circles intertwined, and we were like, oh, we both have a similarity in being hilarious. No, we both just had a similarity of like having a good time. And John's just a great dude. So like those are the people that I had just mentioned. That's why I brought them up. But you do have like a hobby similarity normally with somebody that you become good friends with. But then you realize you have so many different things that you like. So I was talking to this guy and I'm like, look, I guess I could have read him this list. I don't want to open a golf shop. I have no interest in opening a golf shop with awesome golf gear and a driving range and a simulator. I have no interest in that. I love that John and Andy do. And I'll tell you what, if they ever did open it, it would probably be my favorite place to want to go or to go when I was around it because they're my guys. But they were two of my closest friends, and I don't care about that hobby. I should have told this guy this stuff. I definitely don't care about Darnay's Edison lights in his coffee shop, but I love him, and I wouldn't do anything less than support him in his stuff. You can have your interesting hobbies and still make friends with a lot of different people because there are a lot of people have a lot of things they like. So there's a free life lesson from a show that's destined not to be on Netflix. Okay, I got to see if there's any comments we need to read today. So we kick off a week, a Monday. I got to get my head wrapped around a busy work week. Seahawks play on Saturday, by the way. I'm very excited for that. Seahawks play on Saturday. They will be going up against the San Francisco 49ers. The timing, I don't know yet because we still have to wait for tonight's football game to finish. I can't even tell you who tonight's game is. It is the Houston Texans, Pittsburgh Steelers. When that game finishes, they'll announce what channel, what time the games are. I'm really hoping the Seahawks play the 8 o'clock game. I feel like somehow they're going to get screwed, play at 4:30 Eastern, which is 1:30 on the West Coast, which makes zero sense. And the Buffalo Bills game, that's the other Saturday game, should be at 4:30 on the East Coast, since that game has an East Coast team on it. I'm sure the Seahawks and Niners will get screwed on this one. We'll see, though. I hope they're the 8 o'clock game. That would make more sense. Be great for me. The kids would be in bed, and I'd be cooking. Okay. Did I mention that I don't think I mentioned this because I'm seeing here from Yvonne, I like meeting significant others at parties, too. I didn't like one Christmas party when my husband at the time had a little too much to drink and was flirting right in front of me. He literally put his face right in a woman's breast right in front of me. Not funny. No, that's not funny. That's not the move. That's not the move. But it is part of the wildness of work Christmas parties. I hate that it was with Yvonne. I wish it was somebody else and it was a better story. But I get what you're saying there. Didn't like that. That Christmas party's not fun. I am personally made for Christmas parties, holiday parties, kickoff parties. I'm made for them. I realized this Friday. We had our work kickoff a year, Christmas / kickoff a year party. We had that this Friday. Had tons of fun. Ann and I went. It was a great time. I thought it was a great time. I am made for these things. I will get there when they start, and I will stay until they're done, until someone tells me I have to leave. Meanwhile, I will never understand it. I'm not in the same headspace. There were so many people I saw, they were feeling out when can we leave. Like this thing started at 6, and by about 7 o'clock, you could feel a ton of people going, whoever makes the first move to get out of here, the second I see you head for the door, I'm leaving too. I am nowhere near that. As people were leaving, I thought, how are you leaving this? How are you leaving this hang? What else do you have going on tonight on a Friday night? But that's fair. They've got their stuff. They've got their stuff. They're not holiday Christmas party or work party fans, and that's fine. But I'm made for them. I am built for those things. We had an axe throwing truck there. I wanted to throw axes against everybody. There was good food. There was good drinks. I could hang and talk with people, listen to stories. Got to meet some significant others that I'd only heard about. It's like my favorite. Okay. Let's see here. Spokanean says, as much as I want the Ducks to win, I'm pretty sure Indiana is going to steamroll them, and this game will be better than the actual final. Well, you were right about that, Spokanean. That Indiana-Oregon game was not close. It was an absolute butt-whooping from the jump. From the jump. Indiana smoked Oregon, and they play Miami for the championship next Monday night. I don't think it's going to be good. And over at Sean'sLife.com, he double-dipped, so I'm not going to count it. I'm going to count it. Over on Sean'sLife.com, we have our first comment of the year over there. You can go to Sean'sLife.com, make your comments. And Spokane Ian, Voodoo, says first comment. So he got in on Spotify, but then he did go over to make sure, which I appreciate, Spokane Ian, make sure that function is working on that website because it's been a minute. Blow the dust off it. First comment. Thank you. All right. Thanks for checking out the Monday podcast. I hope the week starts out well. We will chat later this week, probably on Netflix.